We will start out this week's edition of Odyssey House Journals with a quiz for our guest, Brenda. All right. If you had, in the last 30 days, this podcast was most popular in which cities? Just throw out a guess. Ding, the time's up. Yes.
Okay, London, England, UK.
She must have been looking at my crib notes here because she's absolutely right. You would think it'd be like Salt Lake City or somewhere around Utah or something. London was the number one city. Ashburn, and I looked it up, and it's Ashburn, Virginia, which I think is somewhere near D.C., so maybe there's people there who work in government. Phoenix was number 3, and Salt Lake City was number 4. Good guess, but did you cheat?
I might have.
Okay.
I might have had some insight, some intel.
I wondered how you could come out with that. It says out of the clear blue. So welcome to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm your host, Randall Carlisle. Our guest today is Brenda. And our whole point of having people in recovery on this podcast is hopefully to give you a better understanding of addiction and some of the solutions for addiction and what it all means to a person's mental health. So if you have some loved ones that are dealing with addiction, Brenda can offer some insight. So you were just last night on our family support group, and you helped a lot of the family members understand their loved one's addiction. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. We enjoyed it.
What'd you think of the experience talking to, basically the family support group involves anyone who wants to come, who has an addicted loved one, and it's talking to them about boundaries and enabling their addicted loved ones. What'd you take away from that?
Well, that probably I'd have to say that if you really won't make that change until you're ready to make that change. Everything that everything that everyone tells us that loves us, sadly, if you don't want to quit using, you won't. So.
And you revealed last night that you've been in addiction for 30 years.
I have.
And I asked the question, did any of your loved ones say, Brenda, come on, it's time to quit using and get your act together?
They did. My mother did several times, my father, my children.
And did it make any difference?
Sadly, no.
So why is that? Because you would think, and I related the story. I'm in long-term recovery from alcohol, and all 4 of my wives at different times, not the same, not all at once. We do live in Utah, but all 4 of them, complained and said, you're an alcoholic and you need to get help. And it never impressed me until like the 4th one left, and I thought, well, maybe I should think about changing my lifestyle. So why did your mother and your kids not have a strong enough influence to persuade you to quit?
I guess just because I was very selfish and was deeply into my addiction. I've been homeless for the last few years, and it's really hard to really do anything productive. The drugs are everywhere around you, so it was hard not to stop using, especially on the street.
It's easier to just keep doing what you're doing than make the change.
It is.
What and how? You said you were homeless for a while. Are drugs just readily available for homeless people?
Yeah, they are. They're everywhere.
Uh, in other words, I mean, could I go to a homeless encampment anywhere in town and say I'm looking for whatever and get something?
Well, somebody would probably walk up to you and tell you what they had, but the homeless community knows each other, and mostly they just kind of take care of each other that way, in a sense.
So they'd look at me and say, "You're not one of us," and so we don't know anything about drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did your addiction start? Describe your growing up and what had happened.
So I grew up in a happy home. I'm the oldest of five. I'm oldest of five, four sisters and one brother, and I'm the only one who, I'm the only one to my knowledge that has an addiction problem with drugs. I don't really drink, so I went to college, graduated. I went to college, and I met my first husband, and he introduced me to pot. I was really nervous about even trying it because I kind of grew up in a environment where I didn't know anything about drugs. That was just the other people. I really didn't even think about it.
So you didn't have friends in high school or anything?
No, I didn't. And even I guess the people that would go out and hang out in the parking lot. We just assumed they were smoking cigarettes. So that was never. I was never really around it.
So you graduate from college, you get married.
Oh, I went to SLIC. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm an associate.
And you had a professional job.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
I was an administrative assistant to the vice president of an engineering company.
Oh.
Yeah, it was in Bountiful, and that's where I'm from. And it was a great job. I had great benefits. I worked there for 13 years. And towards the end of the job, I began using cocaine and then smoking crack. And
why did you start? You didn't have any of the influences when you were growing up, and then you get married and you start smoking pot, and then it progresses to other things. What led you to even agree to smoke pot or go to other things at that point? You're in your 20s, right?
Yes. I guess it was my first husband. He was a little bit older than me, and I really didn't have any friends. I was just working a whole lot. I had acquaintances at work, and so I hung out with his friends, and on the weekend we'd go to clubbing, whatever. But I would go pick up the pot, the marijuana, and the person who I was picking it up from smoked crack, and so I started doing that. And
did you enjoy the feeling?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Well, just all of it, just the whole. I think that whole thing, that all the surroundings and everything, it was just like, I don't know, I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in, but I wanted to. And so my husband didn't know, and so then we got a divorce, and I put myself into a few treatment centers, and this was in my 20s, and I met I met my husband.
Okay.
Yeah, and I met him in a treatment center, and
Which everybody tells everybody not to do.
Yeah,
Right.
and they told us not to do it.
Right.
And we were going to be the exceptions. We're still married, but we've lost our children, and it's been a rough road. We've had our good times and definitely had our bad times.
So you met in a treatment center, and then when you got out, did you start using again?
Yes, right away.
With your husband?
Yeah, I put myself there. I put myself there, and he was court ordered to be there, and I started using meth. I had never used meth before, and smoking pot.
So, and did you enjoy what meth did for you?
I did.
Because?
Just the feeling and the confidence that it gave me. And once again, I felt like I just wanted to fit in.
You.
And I've never really had a whole lot of close friends. I'm just kind of different from anybody in my family, I feel like. And so I really wasn't close to them. Right after I graduated from high school, I left and went to college and moved out on my own. And
so what brought you into your current program?
So we became homeless in 2022, and
You and your husband?
Yes.
And kids?
No.
Okay.
My kids, one of them went in the system, and the other one, my mother adopted, and my middle son, I gave up to my husband's sister. But I just started speaking with him a few years ago, which was really awesome. And because I don't get to talk to my oldest or my youngest.
Because they don't want to?
They don't want to. They're not ready. Or I just, my youngest came and saw me when I was at Mill Creek the first time. And, but then I relapsed. And now I think she just, it's just too much for them. You know, I was so selfish in all the years that, you know, why should they come around now that, you know, I would like to be able to talk to them, because I feel like I'm doing it a lot better, but only time will tell. And so, you know, I pray that once I get some time under my belt, I can kindle those relationships up again.
How's it make you feel when your kids don't want to talk to you?
It makes me really sad. It makes me realize how selfish I've been, and just really, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad. It makes me wish that I would have been a better person, would have been a better mom, you know.
But you're working on that now.
Yeah.
You know, and I've heard from a lot of families, and it depends on the family members, but so they've seen you using for a number of years, right? So it's going to take a while for them to believe that you truly are in recovery.
Right.
And are you ready to deal with that frustration? Because I had a hard time with people saying, yeah, you'll start drinking again.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Said, no, I won't. You know, that kind of stuff.
It is. It's so frustrating. I tell my mother that I'm getting ready to leave, and she just has zero confidence in me. And I understand why.
Sure.
Totally. I've been there before. Oh, I'm going to quit. No, I don't. And, but I understand as well. And so I'll just have to show them.
Well, and I hope you do.
Me too.
You say you went through one of our programs, and then you got out. And you relapsed. Why did that happen?
Also, I was on paper when we were homeless, and so I never went and checked in. And so then a warrant came up for my arrest, and when you're homeless and you're sleeping on the streets, you kind of want to sleep places where the cops can't see you, because if they roll up, they'll take you to jail if you have, because they always ask your names. And well, finally, after it was like the third year, and so I went to jail, and I did 63 days, and then just out of the blue, Odyssey came and got me, and I think my attorney called, but anyways, Odyssey came and got me.
Yeah, Odyssey doesn't just walk into
I
jail
know,
and say,
right?
okay, you and you're coming with me.
Yeah.
So.
I think, my attorney came and got me, but I felt like it was like, divine intervention, right? So they came and got me out of jail. I went to Mill Creek. I did 8 months at Mill Creek and went to sober living in February. And when I got out in February, I started using after a month of being in sober living.
Why?
Why? Because I went back to old people places and things, and I didn't realize how important, they say not to, but I just really didn't get it. I thought that I did 8 months, in a...
I'm cured. Everything's okay.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought, I got this. And no, so I left sober living and was on the street for about 10 days, and I decided to go check myself back in again. And this time I can just look back at it and just think how I felt like I had it, I felt like this time was it, but there were so many things that I wasn't aware of, and
you are now?
Yes, now I see where I went wrong and was too overconfident. You can't take your sobriety granted. Even if you've just got a little bit of time, that little bit of time is better than no time. And
well, the positive thing about what you did that I see is that you only spent. You said you started using, right? But only for 10 days, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, basically, but
yeah.
what my point is that a lot of people relapse, and the first time I relapsed was 14 years ago, but I remember my addict brain took over and said, Randall, you can probably have a couple of drinks. Well, it turned into too many drinks, and
right.
I was very ashamed of the fact that I had been clean for 9 months. And then I felt like a loser. And a typical addict brain may say, well, you screwed up, so you might as well keep screwing up. But you didn't.
No.
What was it? How did you feel after using for however many days you did that brought you back in?
Well, at first, I hated it. I hated myself. I was ashamed. I was stupid. I just couldn't believe that I had, at that point, I had, almost a year, really, and then to just to start using, just to forget everything that I had just learned or I was supposed to implement, and thinking, really, just this one time, always turns into, a month later, you're like, or however long it turns into. But yeah, I knew right away that this wasn't going to work, and I needed to get back into treatment, and that was hard. It was really hard going back. Everybody says that was the right thing to do, but still, I just was ashamed, embarrassed. Oh my gosh, what have I done now?
Were people judgmental?
Oh no, not at all. At Odyssey, no, not at all. Definitely not at Odyssey. Yeah.
Well, nor should they be, because what you did was the right thing. And the thing maybe that you learned is you realize that you're going to have to deal with this the rest of your life. Addiction is a complicated, lifelong disease, and I don't believe that you're ever cured. That you're one step away from, I'm one step away from a drink, and you're one step away from whatever it is what, is it meth now, or?
No, it was fentanyl.
Oh, okay. All right. And obviously you got high.
And
Did you enjoy the feeling, or were you feeling guilty the whole time?
I was feeling guilty at first, maybe, but then, you come down and, yeah.
Well, I mean,
good.
relax. I hate the expression that people use in treatment programs saying relapse is part of it.
Oh, I know. Yes, right?
Because the first time I heard that in a program, it was like, why would you say that? Because you're giving me, it's like you telling me that I'm going to relapse, and I'm so determined I'm not going to relapse.
Right. Yeah. They're just like waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. But this time I feel like I've learned so much just for the little time that I was out. I don't ever want to go there again, and only time will tell.
What are you going to do the next time you have the freedom to use again, and you're tempted? What are you going to do differently this time?
Well, I just really need I'm going to stay away from all the people that I used to hang out with. I'm not going to go any of the places where I was. I've got a great support system with, I'm involved with, I'm going to be involved with JETS and FTR, and I'm a Voyager. So, I feel like I'm part of something, and just staying connected with, going to meetings. I want to have a sponsor when I get out so that I can call somebody when I feel a certain type of way. And, if it gets to that point, the people that I talk to just they have no faith in me, so it's frustrating talking to them about me wanting to get better, because it just goes in one out and out the other, but I get it, so I just need to hang around those people that really, that really understand it, and that are like-minded, and want the same thing as me.
Recovery community.
Exactly.
And for those of you watching or listening around the world and everything, some of the things she referred to, the JETS program is a program in Odyssey's treatment program for people who are succeeding very well in the program it means junior executive training, and with hopefully the thought of coming back to work at Odyssey House. FTR was Fit to Recover, which is a great program for people in recovery, for exercise, for music and expression, for cooking, for giving back to the community. And for those of you who may not realize, and you think of Salt Lake City as this Mormon enclave where everybody's clean and there's no drugs or crime, we're like every other city. But there is a huge recovery community, sober softball, sober golf, sober bowling, sober whole bunches of stuff.
Right.
And if you Google AA meetings or NA meetings or CA meetings, Salt Lake, there's a list like several pages long, starting at like 6 a.m. till midnight or whatever in various locations. So it's not like I mean, we have a community that you can hang out with if you choose to do so.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. There's apps
Yeah.
that you can download that give you, where sober activities are happening. And
But you've got to involve yourself with that.
right.
You know.
Yeah. And I became a Voyager. So I'll be able to go back to my house and like give back hours and see the people that come in and just watch how they grow and how they struggle, and it'll just keep it fresh in my mind. Sometimes I forget,
It's hard. You just got to stick with it all the time, and giving back and being with the recovery community are great ways of staying sober.
Yeah.
Even as long back they wrote the AA Big Book, and one of the steps was that you give back, and they were pretty smart because giving back is part of every program, right? And the reason that works is because you get out of your own head. I'm thinking about you now, not me. Mm-hmm. And addiction is the most selfish thing anybody can do. You hurt so many people, and you're just thinking about pleasing yourself. So if I start thinking about someone else, I don't think about pleasing me.
Right.
Does that work for you?
I think so. Yeah, I like to be outgoing and try to help other people when I can and where I can. So I feel like this is going to be a great opportunity for me. Should really self-reflect. And
if you get involved, it sounds to me like part of your issues were wanting to feel like you're accepted by people.
Yeah, like a part of something, Yeah.
So better to be part of the recovery community than the drug world. Right?
Support.
Yeah. Just tell me briefly, because I have no idea. What's it like living on the street, homeless?
It's terrible. It's terrible. But if you get high, then it makes it all right. Makes it bearable. It's cold. You live somewhere maybe not very close to the block where, if you used to be able to live on the block, and that was great because, they've got the clothing services, they've got food. Showers. And so, but you can't live on the block anymore since Rio Grande.
That was an area where
Project Rio Grande.
Project Rio Grande that was cleaned up. And so now homeless encampments are all over the city as opposed to one place.
Right.
So,
right. And they're farther away from
services.
Exactly. And so that's really hard, But then if somebody doesn't have and they do have, they share with you. And so it's just, that's how.
Including drugs.
Yeah, including drugs.
I told you this time would fly by, and it has. We're out of time. I wish you well, and I appreciate you. It's hard. People don't realize it's difficult to sit down and bare your soul to people, but that's part of the healing process,
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing
Thanks, Randy.
your story, and hopefully inspired other people to seek recovery just like you did. Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching or listening to another edition of Odyssey House Journals.